I think there's this common misconception among people that our water resources are unlimited, but they're not. I mean, I always grew up thinking that we had water everywhere. I was never told, oh, maybe you should take a shower instead of a bath because baths take up so much more water. People need to become more aware of this problem.
Why is fresh water so important? Fresh water is essential for human survival. We use fresh water as a drinking source, to grow and produce food, and use it for healthcare and sanitation. Globally, diarrhea is a leading cause of illness and death, and 88% of these deaths are because of a lack of access to safe drinking water. What people might not know is that there's a small percentage of fresh water on Earth, and 3/4 of it is frozen. The remaining fresh water is mostly underground or is found in lakes, streams, rivers, and wetlands. Both groundwater and lakes can be considered non-renewable in some cases, as they both regenerate fairly slowly. What is eutrophication? Eutrophication is when a water body receives an excess amount of nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus, which promotes algal growth. When the algae die, they sink to the bottom of the lake and begin decomposing, which depletes the lake of oxygen, causing death of organisms such as fish. Nitrogen and phosphorus are essential for aquatic plant growth. However, when the lake is provided with excessive amounts of these nutrients, it can form blue-green algae blooms that are toxic to both humans and animals. The irony of this is that the excessive addition of nutrients is often human-induced. Eutrophication is caused by agriculture, urban and industrial sources, and nutrient leaching from sewage disposal facilities. Consequences of eutrophication. Number 1. Water bodies usually can purify themselves of excess nutrients and toxins. However, they cannot keep up with the rate that humans are releasing toxins into the water systems. This impairs the ability of water systems to filter and provide clean water to us. As drinking water reservoirs become eutrophic, they can have higher treatment costs, a displeasing color and odor, and may even have health hazards from algal toxins left in the final water product. Freshwater habitats are one of the most endangered in the world, and its species are several times more likely to become extinct than terrestrial or marine animals. Causes of eutrophication. One cause of eutrophication is improper sewage treatment. Waste from urban areas are transported to wastewater plants to be purified. However, some of these plants run on old technology, which is often good at removing solids, but does not remove all the nutrients from the waste. In most cases, not all nitrogen is removed, causing eutrophication. Another cause is agricultural practices. In the last 70 years, phosphorus use has increased over 3 times and nitrogen use has increased 7 times. These excess nutrients could not be completely consumed by crops, and nutrients enter the water systems from agricultural runoff. Soil tilling can also significantly increase the amount of runoff on fields. This is because annual tilling destroys root channels that would normally suck up excess water. As population increases, so does the practice of raising animals such as chicken, pork, and beef. These animals produce millions of tons of manure, which can leach into our water systems. Manure is also used as a fertilizer and is applied to cropland. The problem with this is that there is an oversupply of manure, often resulting in over-application to fields or application at times when the crops cannot use the nutrient source. This results in an overload of nitrogen and phosphorus, which ultimately leaches into groundwater or runs into surface waters. Urban areas are characterized by their impermeable surfaces, such as roads, driveways, rooftops, and sidewalks. As precipitation travels over the impermeable surfaces, it collects nutrients and other pollutants. Runoff may also occur on fertilized lawns and gardens due to overwatering. The water then collects in the streets and down storm drains, which empty directly into lakes and streams. Since the water is not filtered, all the nutrients collected are directly deposited into the water system. The loss of wetlands mainly occurs because of agricultural practices or urban expansion. Wetlands are extremely important as they cleanse water and reduce floodwaters. Without wetlands, enhanced nutrient loading from agricultural practices can run freely into water bodies with almost no filtration. As trees are removed, the loss of root systems causes an increase in soil erosion, which often results in soil sediments as well as nutrients to enter water bodies. The decreased vegetation also results in a decreased uptake of nutrients. This provides greater opportunity for nutrient leaching into water systems.
Imagine hosting your first party in the brand new home you just bought. You invited lots of friends and looking forward to sharing the excitement with them. To your surprise, nobody rings the doorbell, nobody knocks on the door. They just come stomping in with their wet feet, trashing things onto the floor and hanging from the chandeliers. You wouldn't enjoy that much, would you? This is what we are doing to our lakes. The lakes that supply us with all our water resources, and the animals that live inside and around it. Lake Winnipeg is not only one of the Great Lakes of Canada, but it also is one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. Drainage from Lake Winnipeg is 40 times larger than its surface area. Its watershed spreads over Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, parts of North Dakota, and Montana, making it easier for it to be affected by events in these areas, where surrounding rivers drain excess nutrients into the lake. Lake Winnipeg is a common area for all beach lovers. It employs many fishers and supplies us with food, jobs, and fun. It's also home to many different kinds of fish and wildlife. In 2010, Lake Winnipeg generated an estimated $50 million in a year to economic activity related to fisheries and supplied 3,000 workers with jobs. Lake Winnipeg is naturally nutrient-rich. However, due to human activity over the last years, an estimated 8,000 tons of phosphorus have entered the lake, with a small percentage leaving. This causes mass algal blooms that take up oxygen in the water, killing off small foragers and fish surrounding.
So how can we fix it? Depending on the causes of the eutrophication, we may be able to prevent future eutrophication from happening. We also could reduce the current effects of eutrophication that are already presently happening. In response to the eutrophication caused through agricultural means, there are three main ways to reduce the effects of it. Number 1, using zero-till farms. Number 2, putting wetlands back onto the land. And number 3, growing legume plant crops. So, number 1, using zero-till farms. This process refers to the farming practice in which the agricultural cropland is left untilled. Tilling is normally used to uproot weeds and soften soil. However, zero-till farms use chemical methods to combat these issues. The questions relating to the issues of chemical use will not be addressed here, rather the benefits of this method will be discussed. On zero-till farms, roots of prior crops are left intact, allowing the absorption of nitrogen and phosphorus. As the roots absorb these nutrients, it reduces the amount of them in the runoff, thus reducing eutrophication effects. Number 2, adding wetlands. This refers to the method of adding extra water sinks onto agricultural lands. By doing this, the excessive amounts of nutrient runoff can then be distributed into more sinks, which limits the effects of eutrophication. Number 3, growing legume crops. Legumes are a type of plant which possess the bacteria called rhizobium in nodules of their roots. These bacterium fix nitrogen to the plant, so therefore the growth of these plants in cyclical methods can reduce eutrophication effects. Along with agricultural effects, the effects of ranching also contribute to eutrophication. There are two main ways to reduce eutrophication effects created by ranching. Number 1, compost manure of animals, and number 2, reduce animals' contacts with streams. Number 1, composting manure. This process simply refers to the removal of the animal feces for composting. It simply helps by reducing waste nutrient runoff from the agricultural land where the feces would have been. Number 2. Reducing animal contact with streams. This method refers to either the fencing or bridging of land to keep herds of animals, particularly cattle, away from rivers or streams. Nutrients are present within the feces of these animals, and the closer the proximity to water an animal is when it defecates, the more likely these nutrients will run into lakes and help provoke eutrophication. Thus, methods to keep animals and their feces away from streams are very useful. Other than fencing and bridging, ranching and agriculture are not the only two causes of eutrophication, although they are the main sources. Other factors can also be combated, such as the effects caused by deforestation and the mistreatment of water in urban centers. To prevent eutrophication, deforestation should be avoided at all costs. The benefits of the deep roots of trees to take up nutrients cannot be replaced. Urban runoff is also an issue in provoking eutrophication. Thus, the use of excess gardening fertilizer should be avoided. Also, sewage treatment plants should put biological nutrient filters in place. This would also help reduce the effects. So all in all, eutrophication is a huge problem for the ecosystems and people of the world. Although a body of water already under the effects of eutrophication is difficult to fix, there are many methods to avoid causing future eutrophication or reduce current eutrophic effects. So take your part in dealing with this important issue and advocate less use of nutrients where you can see they may not be needed. Now it's your turn. How can you do your part in helping diminish the effects of this global problem?